we teach. So now in this session we are going to discuss each and every generation of networks in brief. So the first generation, as in earlier class we discussed about the G in this terminology is defined as generation. So each and every generation will be discussed here. So the first generation which we are going to discuss is nothing but 1G networks, which include NMT, CNETs, AMPS, TACs. These are considered to be the first analog cellular systems which started in the early 1980s. And these were radio telephone systems even before the invention of the radio. And next, the first generation networks were conceived and designed purely for only the voice calls with almost no considerations of data services. So as we can compare with the mobile phones or the mobile services in earlier and nowadays, so we have olden days we have the mobile phones or cellular cell phones which we can have the services of only voice calls. There are no text messages, there is no data services, no other options. So only voice calls are designed in that, and those comes under 1G networks. And next we have the 2G networks. This 2G network includes GSM, which is nothing but Global Systems for Mobile Communications, and CDMA and DAMPS. So these are the first digital cellular systems launched in the year of 1919s, offering and improved the quality of sound and better security and higher total capacity. So earlier we have only the mobile phones which are used to only communicate through voice calls, and next we have the option of storing some data like contacts, saving, everything we have there. So next, GSM support. GSM supports the circuit switched data, allowing users to place dial-up data calls digitally, so that the network's switching station receives actual ones and zeros rather than speech of analog modems. So the 2G networks with theoretical data rates up to about 144 kilobits per second. Okay, and next we have the 3G networks, which includes UMTS, FDD, TDD, CDMA, EVADO, CDMA, and TDS, CDMA, ARIB, WCDMA, Edge, IMT. So as we are from the technical background, each and every student have the basic idea about all these terminologies which we are discussing now. Okay, these are the newer cellular networks that have the data rates of 384 kilobits per second, and they can also be improved and increased more than 384 kilobits per second. The UN's International Telecommunications Unit IMT 2000 standards, it requires the stationary speeds of 2 Mbps and mobile speed of 384 kilobits per second for a 3G network. Fine. Next we have entered into the fourth technology, that is nothing but 4G technology. So it refers to the fourth generation of mobile phone communication standards. LTE and WiMAX are the marketed as part of this generation. So even though they fall short of the actual standard, the ITI has taken ownership of this fourth generation network, bundling into a specification known as IMT Advanced. And next, the document calls for 4G technologies to deliver the download link speed of 1 Gbps when stationary and 100 Mbps when mobile. So this is the point which we need to discuss more on this. And here in 4G technology, they have provided the option of data services, and in that data services we can also download many files. And here we have two types of conditions while downloading the file. So the first condition is, while downloading the file, the system or the person needs to be standard or stationary. So when a person is in stationary, that means no move. So movement will be 0. When there is no movement, when the person is stationary, downloading a file will be very easy, and it consumes some amount of particulars when compared to the second condition. So what is the second condition? When the person is in mobility, that means moving. When the person is moving, That means it is having some movement. So when it is having some movement, the requirements or the parameters when compared with no movement will be more assigned. So these two needs to be differentiated, and those are differentiated in this 4G technologies. We are going to discuss is directive wave path, line of sight, out of sight, obstructive path. So a directive wave path is a path cleared from terrain contours. The line of sight is a path cleared from buildings. Here, when a signal or the network or the owner is providing the services to any subscribers, they need to a clear idea about terrain contour. So what is terrain contour? If signal A or person A is in one cluster and person B is in another cluster. For example, assume this. So A is in one cluster or one city who is in Guntur, and B is the other user who is there in other cluster known as Hyderabad. Okay, so when A needs to call B, so or when B needs to establish a communication between A and B, so we need to establish a call between these two subscribers. So there are many obstacles and many buildings, mountains and trees, everything in between Guntur and Hyderabad, right? So there are many largest amount of buildings, trees, mountains, hills, everything will be there, cell towers, everything will be there. So from A to B, the signal will be reached to B without any interference by the external environment or from the external networking signals or from any of the medium. So in order to overcome all these obstacles like buildings or trees or mountains or hills, so that will be comes under terrain. The line of sight is a path clear from buildings. Alright, so in the mobile radio environment, we do not always have the line of sight condition. So without line of sight condition, we will be designed our mobile radio environment. And next, when a line of sight condition occurs, the average receiver signal at mobile unit at a 1 mile intercept is higher than 40 dB per second, and the path loss slope remains. Okay, next we have when an out of sight condition is reached, the 40 dB per second path loss slope still remains constant. So how it is possible? So as we discussed in the before point that the line of sight is very clear for mobile radio systems, then the line of sight condition occurs with the average received signal of 1 miles per intercept. So how is it possible to remain the same? But it is possible. If we make this possible, then we can have the clear mobile radio environment. The short-term receiver signal at mobile unit observes the Rayleigh fading. So this term will be explained in before topics, and the Rayleigh fading is nothing but the most serving fading. So when the terrain contour blocks the direct wave path, we call it the obstructive path. And in this situation, the shadow loss from the signal reception can be found by using the knife edge diffraction curve. Before entering into the next topic, we are going to focus on these three terms, and these are going to expect question paper for 2 marks. So they will be asking like define or explain in brief about the directive wave path, or explain in brief about line of sight path, or explain in brief about out of sight path, and what is obstructive path. So here we have the definitions and brief introduction, and each and every point which you can insert in your exam paper. So each and every point is explained in brief. Okay. Thank you everyone.